What's that you say? You gotta turn on the radio. Okay. You got to listen to Prohibition Radio with CLAIR. You got to listen to Prohibition Radio with CLAIR.
Hello, I'm Claire and welcome to the first Prohibition radio show of 2021. Wishing you all a wonderful new year. I hope you guys had a super swinging Christmas and are looking forward to what I hope will be a much better year for everybody. The first show of the year is dedicated to the Swing Sisters. I'm delighted to welcome back to the Prohibition radio show Tallulah Goodtimes. A DJ mix and interview from her are on the way, but for now, from his brand new album Golden Days, this is LVDS with 1925.
And when the day is breaking slowly, shoes. Don't wanna put the world to rights, deep in conversation all through the night. Just wanna swing till I see the light, dance away my troubles till they're out of sight. When I put on my dancing shoes, gotta kick it right, gotta shake my swing it, and gotta care, got nothing to lose. When I put on my dancing shoes, don't wanna put the world to rights, deep in conversation all through the night. Just wanna swing till I see the light, dance away my troubles till they're out of sight. Swing it, swing it, swing it to me, baby. Swing it.
You've just been listening to the super swinging sounds of up-and-coming electro swing vocalist Natalie Nightingale with Dancing Shoes. Absolutely love that record, and I guarantee you'll be hearing a lot more from this lady in 2021.
One time, rock to the rhythm, roll to the rhyme, come on. Two times, everybody move your behind, come on. Three times, rock to the rhythm, roll to the rhyme, come on. Four times, everybody move your behind. Not to hold on, yo, it's to let go, then it is to move on. Every day improve on, reach your goals and keep on. Then you just say, you motivate, collaborate like every single day. Educate, never hesitate, trust your inner self, like you're giving well. Don't you ever quit when you're sick of it, or come around and bend again, then we conquer it. One time, rock to the rhythm, roll to the rhyme, come on. Two times, everybody move your behind, come on. Three times, rock to the rhythm, roll to the rhyme, come on. Four times, everybody move your behind. Transform like Ultron, no, there's no stopping this. Rock like Gibraltar for all the populace, like a Dalmatian. Always rocking spots and shit. Yeah, we never quit. Yeah, we be the ultimate. It's like this. You know we don't stop. Moving to the music, hip to the hop. Come on.
As this show is a Swing Sisters takeover, it only seemed right that I picked a track that is arguably one of the true classic girly anthems. Alfredo Ray and his orchestra with their rework of Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend, taken from Barton Baker's Electro Swing Party 3 compilation that came out for Christmas last year. And before that we had Balduin with Move Your Behind.
The hand may be quite continental, but diamonds are a girl's best friend. A kiss may be grand, but won't pay the rental on your humble flat, or help you at the automat. Men grow cold stiff knees, you'll stand straight at Tiffany's. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. Diamonds are a girl's best friend.
Glitzy sparkling, ring bling. Glitzy sparkling, ring bling. Glitzy sparkling, ring bling. No, don't be monster, monster, monster. No, don't be monster, monster. No, don't be monster, monster. No, don't be monster, monster.
Hashtag Prohibition MCR.
Stay here, my love. Tasty, sweet honey. Stay here, my love. Tasty, sweet honey. Eyes watching all over the place, but you got something special like a moonshiny day. Body's moving all over the floor, smoke in the back, got it on tap, knock on the door. I feel selfish 'cause I want your mind, I don't wanna share my time. Pour another glass of wine, keep it going for tonight. We can stay another drink, dance until our body's ache. Even if it's getting late, tell me that you wanna stay. Stay here, my love. Tasty, sweet honey. Stay here, my love. Tasty, sweet honey. Closer, feel my body over yours. Stay here all night. That's what we came here for. Stay here, my love. Tasty, sweet honey. Stay here, my love.
You've just been listening to the sounds of my swing sister Alana Wise with Mr. Jazz X Day. And now the time has come to welcome another swing sister back to the Prohibition Radio Show, the lovely Tallulah Goodtimes. She has recently released her debut album, Interstellar Swing, which has gone from strength to strength, skyrocketing up the electro swing playlist charts on Spotify, as well as reaching the #1 spot on the iSwing charts. I'm so excited to share our interview. I had so much fun chatting to her. It was laughs a minute. So here we go with the lovely Tallulah Goodtimes.
Hey, buddy, do you like to swing? Come with me. You're listening to Emma Claire, the best of all things swinging on Prohibition Radio.
Hi Sophie, how are you?
Oh, I'm very good, thanks, Emma. Lovely to see you.
And you too. Thank you for taking the time to speak to me. I can imagine that you are super busy.
It is that time of year, yes.
It really is. It's a time of festive cheer, but also a time of, oh my gosh, there's so much to do.
Yeah, although slightly less so this year. Obviously, we'd normally be in the midst of crazy gig season.
Exactly.
And it's a bit weird to be in sort of, early night zone.
Oh, I can relate to that one. So I just like to start with your artist name because Tallulah Goodtimes, it is super cool. It gives off such a fun vibe. But is there a story behind kind of how you came up with the name?
Oh, thank you. Well, Tallulah is one of my all-time favourite film characters, Jodie Foster in Bugsy Malone. And when I was kind of creating the idea for the project, it felt like, well, Tallulah just felt like a really natural name to choose because of the vibe, because of the era of music. And then Good Times really was, was kind of, well, let's just create a name that sort of describes what I'm aiming to do, which is to be a purveyor of good times. So yeah, it kind of came as a result of that fusion, really.
That's really cool, and I can definitely say you are a purveyor of good times. So you can definitely coin that phrase confidently. And did you always want to be a DJ and singer?
I don't know whether I always wanted to be. I think it was something that sort of happened as a result of just a fascination and absolute adoration of music, really. I mean, I always used to perform in assemblies, singing, playing the keyboard, and spent my lunchtimes in the music room, mucking about with synthesizers and stuff. And yeah, so I think, it wasn't necessarily something that I always wanted, but I always wanted to follow my fascination into music, and that's where it came from.
That's awesome. I think I remember back at school, it wasn't cool to play the keyboard, but now it's so cool as a kid.
Yeah.
So I can just imagine you hiding away in the music room at lunchtime and everything.
Yeah, it was ultimate nerdery, but I loved it. It was kind of, it was a real happy place. And I think, music generally for me, whether I'm making it or whether I'm playing it, it's sort of like a very present zone for me, and kind of that being in the present moment just sort of makes any other worries and cares sort of fade away, really. So
absolutely, yeah, that's it's a cool mantra. And have you got a musical family? Is there anyone else in the family that kind of shares your love?
My brother plays guitar, but in terms of the rest of the family, we're kind of first generation, really. My family are sort of teachers and artists, but not music. We're the first sort of players, as it were. So, but there's definitely a very great love of music. My dad is a massive, he's really into his vinyl, and he's an audio nut, loves things that sound amazing, has always loved great sound systems, and always really encouraged me into sort of understanding how my music sounds, how it can sound better when it's played on a really good sound system and stuff like that. Okay. He'd always switch on, he used to call it the bumps, which was the extra bass function on this old amp that he used to have with these really cool speakers in our lounge and stuff. So I think, they've influenced and encouraged, even though they're not they're not musicians themselves.
Interesting. So your dad's a massive audio geek. Good dad points.
Yes. Yeah, massive.
That's awesome. And what music were you into before you kind of stumbled across the electro swing and vintage kind of sound?
What music haven't I been into? I think might be easier to answer. I mean, it kind of all began really. I think what it was when I was maybe 13, I think, and I started to become aware of all the rave and the old school hip hop sounds, and it was the electronic elements of that music that really, really excited me. And I think it was that excitement from electronic music that kind of took me down that route, really. And I've sort of enjoyed so many of the different facets of electronic music, from sort of the early old school electronic production with the samplers and that kind of vibe, through big beat and trance, and then I settled on Latin house and house for a while, and that was where I did the bulk of my traveling really was with that sound. So I mean, I've always loved electronic and nice solid heavy bass lines, and then the fusion of and then the lightness really of live instruments. So there's been I would say electronic is probably the sort of my roots, if you like.
That's cool. Yeah, same with me. I think I'm always going to have that love of kind of dance music. It never goes away. It's a feeling, isn't it? You just can't beat it in a club and everything. So where did the swing and jazz come in? At what point did you suddenly think, oh, do you know what? I'm going to start adding swing into my sets? Yeah,
well, I mean, swing and jazz for me came into my life watching cartoons.
Oh, okay. I've never had that answer before. That's really cool.
And I just used to love and watch hundreds of Tom and Jerry's with my brother. And I just used to love the music, and I'd never really kind of connected the dots before. But we used to spend hours watching those cartoons, and then when I was a little bit older, I used to love hearing the soundtracks of black and white movies and, the strings and the vintage Hollywood. And I think probably it was just that feeling of just kind of fun and excitement, and also it was sort of almost romance, I suppose, with the strings and everything from the vintage Hollywood. I think that's probably deep down where that influence came from. So in a way, when I became aware that electro swing was, sort of becoming a thing, it was like, oh, this is an amazing combination. This is taking me right back to my childhood and all those joyful memories of cartoons and vintage movies, and then the excitement of the electronic and the loud and the clubby thing. So it's like perfect fusion, I think, for me.
Definitely. I mean, electro swing is super fun, and I like your reference to kind of cartoons as well. I always think that classic cartoons and electro swing, they go hand in hand. They just seem right.
Yeah, they're meant to be, aren't they?
Exactly. Yeah. And you just released your recently released your debut album, Interstellar Swing. Now that kind of touches on quite a kind of lot of vintage elements. Obviously, you've got the kind of guitars, you've got the swinging pianos. In terms of your sound, how would you describe it, or do you not really like to be pigeonholed?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it, describing the sound? I mean, it's kind of good time swing, really. I think it was really important to me, again, this fusion of the live with electronic. It's something that in my early years as a DJ featured a lot. I would be in a club and playing a DJ set, and then there would be a saxophonist, or there would be someone playing I forget the name of it now. There was a synthesizer that almost looked like a clarinet. I think it was a Yamaha something.
Ooh, that sounds exciting.
People playing live bongos, lots of live instrumentation over my DJ sets. And I always felt that it really brought something to the night to have that whole fusion.
Yeah.
So in the creation of the album, it's almost like I kind of wanted to reference that experience of my career in the album and bring out that, fusion of live with electronic. And then also obviously with the gypsy jazz, the 1930s sound, to kind of pull that up into the modern day, really, with the whole vibe of the album.
Definitely. That's a really great insight. And I think what you say about, obviously, you coming from a house background, I remember some of the funky house nights, like, as you say, the elements are live, like the bongo players and the sax. It just has such an amazing vibe. I remember being on a dance floor just like, oh my God, it's amazing. So, yeah, I can totally see how that's brought you to kind of where you are with your kind of electro swing sound. And you've kind of like touched on kind of the inspiration behind the album, but can you kind of maybe tell us a bit more about that? I mean, does it tell a story?
There's definitely, what was really important to me in creating the album was to create a body of work. I wouldn't say lyrically there's not necessarily a story. That's definitely something that I'd like to explore in a future album. But certainly musically, having it as a body of work that you could sit and listen to as a whole and feel as though you had been on this adventure through the electro swing and vintage remix universe was kind of central to the idea behind its creation, as we were kind of working out how it was going to sound and what was going to underpin it. So yeah, it's a musical story, I'd say. Yeah,
that's great. And now I've got my personal favourite track off the album, which I'm not going to say because I don't want to influence your answer. But it's a horrible question to ask, and not everyone can answer it when I ask people this. But if you had to pick one of the tracks off the album, which is your favourite and why?
I knew you were going to.
It had to happen.
And it is the hardest question to answer. I mean, yeah, I know countless other people have said it as well, but they really are like my babies. They do have such different characters. Yeah, so and I kind of, whenever I think, oh yeah, it could be that one, then I think about another one and think, oh no, actually, maybe it's that one, because they are all so different and bring something different. So a favorite, I don't know. I mean, it's very difficult to say, but I do have a bit of a special love, I think, for Universal Love, actually. Just because I don't know, I just get such a nice feeling when I listen to it, and but that's a I do love them all also. Very difficult question.
It's a killer, isn't it? Maybe I should get rid of that one. It's horrible, but it's one that we like to know. I really love All I Want to Do Is Swing. It's just amazing. I love it.
Thank you.
No worries. And you kind of talked about the importance of kind of like live instruments in your sound. Would you kind of class your production more as live production rather than electronic dance music?
Again, that's a tricky one. I think I would class it more electronic, just because of the way that the beats are written. But it is very much, definitely, I mean, it is the meeting of live with electronic. And certainly in the live show, you know, we've got a drummer, we've got guitars, we've got double bass, and there's sax as well. So it really is a fusion. It's electronic with live, and to me it is that thing again of the electronic brings that really nice heavy bottom end, and you know, and the power, and the nice bass lines that I can't wait to hear it on a loud sound system.
Gosh, of course, because you haven't yet heard it. What a feeling. Gosh, gutting.
I haven't heard it on a loud rig yet. Not festival sized anyway. That's definitely a dream.
Definitely.
But also then, you know, the really important thing was the live instruments, because to me that's what brings that real sort of joy, and the real kind of, like you described it earlier, actually, you know, when you're in the club and you've got the sax and the bongo. It's that whole joyous vibe that really kind of, you know, brings the whole sound to life.
Absolutely, definitely. And you kind of mentioned the live band. So for the listeners that don't know, Tallulah, as well as being an amazing DJ and singer, is also has her own band called Goodtimes Republic. What is it like performing as part of the group? I mean, I can imagine it's quite different to being on your own. Do you prefer kind of like doing the DJ thing, or do you prefer being in the group, or is it like comparing chalk and cheese?
They're two very different processes. You know, I think when I'm DJing, and even when I'm DJing with one musician, for example, gypsy jazz guitar or saxophone, it's very much, about preparing the music, and you prepare a set of music, and then you go out and you've got this relationship with musicians if you're playing with musicians, but, you know, and then also you and the crowd. And then the process for the band is, you know, so different, because you're almost, I work in that, you're kind of recreating the way that you approach a DJ set in only with sort of individual parts of the song almost as well. So it's not only me and the music, it's me and the music and then the team coming together to recreate the music in a live setting. So it's a very different process, and sort of incomparable in a way, because one's a more solo activity, but then has this connection to the crowd, but the other is very much a sort of a team project. And then on stage as well, of course, when you're up with a band, it's this whole thing of you've got the whole team. There were 7 of us the first performance that we did, so you've got the whole dynamic of the 7 on stage and then the crowd as well. So it's a very different experience, and both as enjoyable as the other.
I can imagine there's so much going on in a band environment. It just must be quite challenging, I would have thought, the first time you did it. I imagine the first time playing a DJ set, but having all that, everything else going on, it was like, oh my gosh.
It is. And then at the same time, because of the trust that you have in these amazing musicians and your amazing collaborators, in a way, it's in that respect, it's kind of easier because you're in it together, and you're very much, I mean, we didn't hit the stage without rehearsal. We had we had rehearsed it, and so we were all confident about how it was, confident and hopeful about how it was going to sound, and so in that respect, it is it's kind of a different experience in a way. So
fantastic. And you've been all the way around the world DJing. I know you mentioned when you played house that was kind of the peak of the international travel. Where's your favourite place that you played? I know it might be quite hard to say because everywhere's got its own merits, but if you had to pick one, and why?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. Again, such a difficult question. Each place has had a different vibe, and it's been a different show, and the people that I've met have been really different. I think one of my favorites was definitely Mexico.
Ooh, nice.
And that was one, because of the food. Mexican food is just off the scale amazing. And then also it was such a crazy show. It was called Transformación, which was like
trance. Right, instantly break up here. Tell me more.
It was that was the trance. Actually, so that was the trance era. So that was quite early on, actually.
What year was that?
Oh gosh, can't remember now. I'll have to think of that and come back to you on
the
that.
golden days of trance was kind of like late. I remember Binary Friday, that was like 1998 that they did like a cover of that, and it was like early 2000s, which was like the Gatecrasher time.
Yeah, it might have been late 90s, I think, that one, possibly. I'll need to
I am super jealous of that. I am, coming from being a trance DJ originally as well, I kind of missed that kind of golden era trance. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely euphoric, wasn't it?
Euphoric is definitely one word, yeah.
Yeah, and it was this, I don't even know where it was, actually. I know it was in Guadalajara, and there was like this huge fairground and just this massive site. There was, I don't know, about 3,000-4,000 people, I think, and this stage was just enormous, and the crowd was wild, and it was just crazy, the whole thing. It was a very, very memorable gig, for its size, for the sort of the energy. It was electric. So that was definitely a memorable one.
That sounds epic. And do you have a kind of standout moment from your career, because you sounds like you've done some pretty cool stuff, so.
Standout moment, oh my gosh, so many standout moments, so many lovely moments, really. I mean, I feel really lucky to have done and traveled as much as I have done, and to have met as many cool people and done as many lovely gigs as I've done. I mean, if I look to recent times, to standout moments, I I definitely was hugely excited to play Latitude. And that was in the film and music arena with Nick. White Mink, Swing Growers were playing that night. And it was, I think there was between 300 and 500 in that tent. And it was just, and I saw so many faces I knew because it was in Suffolk, which is where I live. And it was just vibes. It was brilliant. And again, that was definitely in recent times a very memorable experience, but it's very hard to say. There have been so many.
I know it's a horribly tough question because you could be playing to 50 people, you could be playing to 5,000 people, and the two gigs can still be as special because it's not always about how many people are there. It's about what the crowd are feeling. And we need to give a special mention obviously to Nick with White Mink. If you are listening, big ups.
Of course, and obviously. A large part of why we're kind of here doing what we do, and Nick's been very supportive. He
has, and he really has. And I was lucky enough to have him on the Prohibition radio show, and he himself has just done so much. You could probably fill 10 shows with the amount of stuff that he's done in his career.
I love that interview. I was really it was a very cool interview.
It was a good one. But back to you, because you are the star of the show. Now, I've been doing some research into you, as I tend to do with guests. I do a little bit of digging on social media, and I spotted that as well as kind of being a performer yourself, you also teach DJing, and you somehow managed to be a mum to 2 kids. How do you do it? How do you fit everything in?
Well, again, it's definitely not just me. It's a team effort.
Yes.
I mean that's it really. Me and Jamie, Mr. Goodtimes, we work together to run family life and kind of try and enable one another to live out our dreams and whilst also bringing up our kids and trying to give them a cool and creative life as well. So I mean, I think it's teamwork, organization as well. And that's the principle. Whether it's it doesn't always work, but that's the general idea. And then I think sort of supporting each other in our we each do something different with our careers, and so it's we support one another so that we can sort of fulfill our desires in our in our professional life, as well as sort of be together as a family and give that the time it deserves as well.
Do you get any time to party? Obviously you've got all this going on with your kids, and it's super cool to hear that you really sort of give them the kind of creative upbringing, which I have to say I think they definitely will be getting. I'd love to be in the Good Times crew. I reckon it's super fun.
Well, I definitely have hermit tendencies, but when I'm not hermiting, I mean I'm definitely somebody, I need outside influence in order to sort of feed my own creativity. So I wouldn't say I have an abundance of time, but certainly when the opportunity presents itself, then I like to get involved, and definitely going out and listening to other artists play is an important part of my own kind of artist journey. On occasion, I mean, I don't really drink much, so it's more a case of going and getting involved in other music gigs, really. So partying in a kind of getting into the music sense is still a feature in life. That's good. I
think it's important. I think you touched on a really good point there as well, just from be you a DJ or a singer or a musician. I think it's important to kind of see what other people are doing, not just to steal ideas, but just to see how. I think it's a good way of learning, because you never stop learning.
Yeah, definitely. I would completely agree. And I think it's, I mean, what it's like when you listen to other people playing and that kind of thing. It's very hard not to, not to be really listening out to what people are doing, but I sort of, I veer between, just fully, I try and just fully get into the moment. But for example, seeing Smokey Joe and the Kid perform, I think it must have been a few years ago now, but I properly nerded out at the finger drumming that was going on live. I mean, it was just incredible. And so, I definitely, again, it comes back down to that fascination thing of,
Absolutely.
you're just sort of watching going, oh, how are they doing that? And oh my God, that sounds good. It is an important thing to do as well, I think, to get out of your own space and just go and just sort of be a bit free. Obviously it's challenging this year,
exactly.
To go and get an outside view on what other people are doing, and not just in electro swing either,
there is a big wide world out there. And which leads me on quite nicely to my next question. Actually, I'm quite pleased with myself how I managed to do that one. In a hypothetical world / universe, if you weren't a musician or you couldn't be a musician, what would you be?
Oh my gosh, I haven't got a clue. What would I be? I would love to be a dancer. I'd love to be a dancer. I imagine that to, be working your body and moving your body. And, again, the freedom, I think, that comes with that. And, that's one thing, I think, in an alternate universe, I would love to be.
I could see you as a dancer. I could see that, definitely. I think you'd still be Tallulah Goodtimes, even if you were a dancer. Because, good times come with dancing. Yeah. And I have to say, lady, that you've done an amazing job keeping the electro swing scene alive during last year's lockdown with Party in Your PJs. I've definitely been tuning into all the live streams whenever I can. Have you seen kind of like any kind of positives that have come out of that, or has it been quite challenging? And this is a question that's also come from Camijo, actually. We put a fan feature out. I'd already put the question in the interview, so I'm combining ours two together. So she'd like to know this as well.
I started doing Party in Your PJs purely because I just didn't really know what to do. Like all of our work, both mine and Jamie's, had all just fallen away. Nobody really knew what was happening in the world, really, apart from this huge thing. And I just thought, actually, I just really need to connect. I just really need to find a way to reach my people. Yes. and to play some music. So and also at the time was spending huge amounts of time in my pajamas anyway, which is where the name came from. So I think the benefit's been, really it's been about connection, really. And I think it's been a brilliant year for electro swing musically. I definitely have not struggled, even with a weekly show. There's always new tunes coming through. So I think it's just been really good to continue to connect with the electro swing audience. And I think I've been it's been really good to see how many people are really still into it, and how many people, there have been busier points. It's definitely, I would say that live streaming has definitely calmed down.
Yes.
Now, there was a point where it was really busy, and I think it's just been really nice to have a platform to be able to share all the music that's been coming out this year, and to continue to share the good word of electro swing, which
absolutely
is a mission. And then challenges, mainly internet connections.
I know.
Ironically.
Gosh, you're telling me. It makes you just like so nervous. Normally all you have to worry about is the CDJ's working or your laptop working, but yeah.
And there's been this massive learning curve. I remember in March when I was trying to figure out how to broadcast, and it was just like, how do you even do this? What audio settings do you need?
I know.
How do I get my controller and then my mic and then the camera set up, and how do I make that all look kind of cool? Because I didn't want to just do it, I wanted it to look nice as well. It's been technically a massive a huge learning curve, massive learning curve.
And apart from the obvious lack of in-person gigs during the coronavirus pandemic, how else has it affected you as an artist? Have you taken any positives from it? Because I know some people have absolutely embraced the kind of downtime. Like, you know, how's it? What have you been doing?
I mean, it's been roller coaster for sure. You know, I was actually just the other day, I was thinking, you know, it's just so weird not having a platform and somewhere like live that we can play at the moment. But I mean, for me, I think that was part of doing the live stream was keeping the music alive, really, and just trying to keep things moving and to bring something positive. And I think that's definitely really helped me with the mental health aspect, because I can't actually begin to imagine if I hadn't been doing the live stream every week, which has had its challenges in that, as you know, it takes quite a while to prep.
Yeah, it really does.
A show every week. But I think without that, I feel like I might have lost my sense of purpose. You know, seeing as this is kind of what we do as artists and DJs and musicians. So I think that's been kind of super important, really. And I mean, I think creatively, you know, I mean, I feel that I wouldn't have ever launched my crowdfunder had I not been live streaming. You know, it was because I'd developed this sort of relationship really with people listening that helped to give me the confidence to think, you know, maybe in the midst of this crazy year, after I was set to launch it in March, and of course it happened, and just it definitely helped to give me the confidence to just say, right, okay, let's just do this anyway. Let's do this because of, almost in spite of, coronavirus. And I think that definitely connected and resonated with people who supported the campaign as well. A lot of people said, you know, it's so good to have something positive. We're so happy to support you in this because it's something joyful, because it's something positive, you know, and I think that there's no doubt that kind of you know, sort of helped it, despite everything going on. It sort of enabled the crowdfunder to be a success, which in turn enabled me to finish the album, you know. So yeah, I mean, it's you know, it's been
it's been a roller coaster. Yeah, I know, that's great. There have definitely been some positives, and you know, bravo for the crowdfunder. I kind of been watching your journey, and it's been super impressive. So yeah, give yourself a virtual pat on the back for that one. And obviously this show is dedicated to the Swing Sisters project that Prohibition have just launched, which is our second guest from the Swing Sisters. I'd like to just ask you kind of like about your experiences as a woman working in the music industry. How's it been for you? Have you ever faced any barriers or come across any challenges because of your gender?
Yeah, I saw this question and I thought, that's a great question, because actually I feel as though, and I don't know whether it's because I've just blindly carried on and just ignored all going on or what, but I really feel that if I have missed out on opportunities because I'm a woman, I've not been aware of them, because I've moved on. I've just always been about moving on and about continuing to keep doing what I'm doing, keep putting myself out there, keep, you know, promoting my work, keep just to keep moving forward. So I don't, if there is stuff that has happened, I've not been aware of it. It's been going on, you know, and those opportunities have been there, but I've been, you know, none the wiser almost.
That's great. And on the flip side of that, have you ever been given any gigs just because you're a girl? I know there's all the cringe kind of like female DJ lineups. I know we're doing it with Prohibition, but I'm doing it to celebrate women rather than as a token. I think there's a difference.
I've been involved in quite a few all-female DJ nights through the years, and I it's a shame that we still have to highlight this as an issue.
I know.
It's like, why are we still highlighting this as an issue in today's world? But again, if I have been a token booking, I haven't known about it. I just think I've just aimed to just keep doing what I do, keep aiming to work with great people, and I think that's sort of been my philosophy on the whole of working in music generally, has just been work with good people, and just keep pushing on with gigs and with putting myself out there. Just keep going, really.
Absolutely, that's all you can do. I think that's a really good mantra, isn't it? I think just focus on yourself and pushing forward regardless of before you go, whatever. I think that's the most important thing. And I'd just like to ask you, obviously, like within the electro swing scene, there are kind of like some really strong female artists coming through at the moment, but that isn't the same in all styles of dance music. How do you kind of see the industry at the moment? Do you think things are changing for the better in terms of gender imbalance, or do you think there's still work to be done?
I think recently I saw another poster. It was the classic comes around every year, Reading and Leeds lineup poster.
Right. Oh gosh.
I think it might have been from last year, and and there were like, was it 4 female artists?
Oh wow.
I mean, crazy. There is for sure. There's still work to be done. There really is. I also see lots of like projects coming through to celebrate female artists. So, but the figures, and I can't remember what they are at the moment for songwriters, certainly, for producers, they're still very, very low in terms of a split between the male female. So for sure, there's still work to be done. And I think it's really great to be involved in something like the Swing Sisters, where we can just, there's no doubt it's fun, it's sisterhood, it's brilliant working, with a great group of talented women. So, just bring it on, I think. And if it helps to encourage younger women and younger artists to just keep going and come through, and again for them to keep going and keep
exactly
doing, then bring it on.
Definitely. I was going to say ladies coming into the scene, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say people in general wanting to start DJing, singing or songwriting. What advice could you offer to them?
Follow your fascination, I think, and just do something towards it every day. Think about what goal you'd like to reach, and work in incremental steps to get there. Certainly for me, having a daily practice in my creative endeavors, perhaps the most powerful thing towards, in moving towards goals that I have. I would say do the thing that you love, do the thing that you want to do and that you're fascinated in, and then the rest will follow on.
Yeah, that's great advice. I love it. Thank you very much for that one. And you kind of said yourself actually that last year 2020 was a really strong year for electro swing. I totally agree. If you had to pick somebody as a kind of one to watch from the electro swing vintage remix scene, band, producer, singer, who would it be?
Oh gosh,
sorry.
I don't know. It has been just such a great year, hasn't it?
It really has.
I sort of I said earlier, every week it's like, wow, there's some more. I have loved the LA sound this year.
Yes.
I have actually, and I feel like it's a real sort of, it's really sort of come together. but yeah, it's very difficult to say. Lots of people to watch. I've been sort of thinking about my end of year review, and I've been thinking, oh my God, I feel like I'll be there for a long time talking about all the good stuff from this year, because there's been so many great artists and singers and bands and DJs coming through with really interesting music. So yeah, all of them.
That's a very diplomatic answer, and that's fine. I had Paro Stella on last month, and he was not giving away any names. No. He was keeping his cards close to his chest. Everybody is awesome. Everyone has their own merits, and we'll leave it there.
I think.
Yeah. And what can we expect from you moving forward? I know some people don't like to plan, but what's coming up for Tallulah Goodtimes? What can we look out for?
Yeah, I mean, lots more music, basically. There's next year, we've got videos coming for the album, remixes.
Is this 2021?
Yes, 2021.
Yeah.
And onwards, really. Yeah. And another album, some singles. Yeah, I mean, just basically more more music, and starting to prep for live performances as well.
Amazing. That's great. And we've talked about the future of Tallulah Goodtimes, but what do you think the future holds for electro swing? I ask this people who come on the show because electro swing, as much as we love it, doesn't get good press sometimes. People saying it's dying. It's been dying for 10 years now. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, who knows? I mean, looking at this year, there's so much awesome music coming out. I hope that there's more awesome. Well, we know that there's more awesome music coming. We do
indeed, yeah.
In 2021 and beyond. I mean, who knows where it's going to go? I think, I think and hope that people will continue, and artists and DJs and musicians will continue to explore its many facets and combinations to bring forward new ideas. And if this year is anything to go by, then it's still rocking and rolling. It's still still moving,
still swinging.
It's there's no doubt it's a niche genre, but the fans, the electro swing fans are they're proper fans. They're true fans, and exactly. I do think that the audience continues to grow. I mean, every week I meet new people who haven't heard it before, who are like, oh wow, what's this? And so I feel that there's a lot of potential for it still to grow, and as long as artists and musicians and singers and DJs are there to help push it out to the world, then forward we go.
Yeah, I agree with that one. I think it may be a small genre, but as you say, it's also really exciting because you bring it to people that have never heard it before, and that's a really cool thing to do. So on the subject of fans, on we go with some fan questions. Chris Nanook says, a few months back, you did a bunch of what I guess was creative writing on your profile. Tales of a Gig Abroad and some unsavoury situations. It was very well written, but sadly he missed the finale. Was that based in truth or fiction? And where can people read more about your stuff?
Couldn't possibly say if it's truth or fiction. But thank that's really cool that he enjoyed reading it, and the finale actually isn't yet written, so that's to come. So I haven't actually found a home yet for my creative writing. I mean, I love writing, hence songwriting. And obviously do have I have heard many tales and also have some tales to tell from adventures in DJing. So it's a project that's it's sort of bubbling really, but not yet fully formed as an idea. So on my social media I tend to share the occasional story. So at the moment, that's the place to keep an eye for.
Exciting. I know he's a big fan of your writing, so here's sneaked in another question relating to the above. There is obviously a lot of crossover in visual arts, music, writing, and creativity in general. Chris references Paro Stella's last album, because the artwork was very prolific in that one. Also Professor Elemental with his graphic novels being another. Do you think this crossover helps push the scene forward, and if so, how? Very clever question there, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I think cross-pollination of the arts pushes anything forward. You know, I think if you've got people who are into a certain style of art or writing or, you know, any kind of visual art, and then they're pulled into a music scene because they enjoy the visual side, then yeah, I mean, I do believe that the cross-pollination is important as well, and for sure helps to increase audiences, I think, because, you know, you draw people in from these different threads of creativity into the other aspect of a project or artist.
Definitely. That's a great question, actually. And I think it's a really cool point because, you know, the steampunk kind of aspect has come from people like Madame Misfit and Professor Elemental, and, you know, all these little things that are interweaving is exciting. And that's led me on quite nicely because Madame Misfit has a question for you. One of the Swing Sisters, we did kind of talk about the album, but I wanted to put this question there because it's a great one and I'd like to know the answer. So obviously the title is Interstellar Swing. She'd like to know why the space theme, which she thinks is really cool, by the way.
Well, I think when I was, when I sort of said, oh, that's it, I want to write an album, and then, you know, wrote loads and loads of different tunes, loads of ideas, you know, a whole hard drive full of thoughts really on what the album could be. And wanted to express something of how I work as a DJ as well, which is I don't necessarily stick to one sort of subgenre within electro swing. I like adventure around the universe, and so kind of this idea of you know, how can I convey this adventure through the electro swing and vintage remix universe, because it sort of became more and more prominent in the theme for the album, and it just I kind of the name came out of that thought really. It was like how can I need to find a name which expressed really that adventure through a universe, and Interstellar seemed like a you know, it was a strong name. Swing, obviously I wanted to have swing in the name of the album, but yeah, the name was definitely born out of and the space theme was born out of this, you know, adventuring through a universe, because it kind of, you know, I feel like electro swing and vintage remix is very much a universe. There are, you know, sort of so many different aspects to it, and certainly for this album I was keen to, you know, sort of explore a few different corners of it.
Definitely. Great answer. That's a really interesting insight into the album. I mean, I love the space theme. It's great. So yeah, I can definitely see why you went with that. So yeah, thank you ladies, and thank you Chris for your questions to Sophie.
Great.
They are very great questions. They're putting me out of a job. So we always like to finish the interviews with just something kind of like nice and easy. So here we go. So it's a quick fire round. Don't overthink it too much. Prosecco or champagne?
Prosecco.
Ooh, nice. Straight in there. Girl after my own heart. Prosecco is much nicer. Cheese or chocolate?
Cheese.
Ooh, cheese. Any particular cheese?
What cheese do I like? My favourite cheese. I mean, I love a gooey brie. And there's an Italian cheese called Taleggio, which I absolutely adore as well. But
nice.
Yeah, give me a cheese board and I'm a happy lady.
And this is maybe a really tough question. I do feel mean asking people this one. Swing or jazz?
Oh gosh. Really difficult.
I know.
I mean, I think swing. I think just for its, you know.
Yes. Definitely. Yeah, with you on that one. And do you, on your night off, do you stay in or do you go out?
Stay in.
That's, yeah. As a DJ, you've not got the time to be going out, have we? We've been gigging that much that when you get a night off, you want to stay in with your PJs on.
I was going to say any opportunity to stay with my PJs. I'm like, oh, it's 7 o'clock.
I know. In fact, Paro Stella was the only person that said he wanted to go out. Everyone else wanted to stay in. Which is hilarious. And three things do you always take to a gig with you?
Oh God! Well, I mean, it's never 3; it's more like 400. But
yeah, being a girl, I can relate to that one. But the 3 crucial things that have to go with you.
Crucial things are my laptop, my controller, and an extension cable.
That's a very practical answer, but very, very essential things. You couldn't get very far without them. That's great. And I have another sneaky question as well to ask you. I know obviously you do follow the interviews, so you know what's coming here.
I do.
Oh gosh, I make myself laugh. When I had Jamie Berry on, his answer to the gig question was, one of the things was sandwiches, which I don't know why made me laugh so much. So ever since then, I have to ask, what is on your sandwiches? What's in your sandwiches? Sorry, I confused Paro Stella when I said what's on your sandwiches. Oh. He didn't get it. What's in Tallulah Goodtimes is sandwiches.
I think my favourite sandwich is I'm going to say we call it a Copenhagen sandwich.
Ooh, what's in a Copenhagen?
Well, it's salami, pickles, mustard, and then it's in like a seeded bun.
Very continental. That sounds good.
So that's my that's
your sandwich filling of choice. Nice, like it. Thank you for that one. Can't have an interview without a sandwich. It's, if you do come to play at Prohibition, then I know what to get you in the riders. Well, Sophie, it's been an absolute joy speaking to you.
Yeah, likewise.
I hope you've enjoyed it.
Been really good fun, thank you, and some great questions as well. Thank you to you and to Chris and to Madam Misfit too.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much.
Find us on Facebook, facebook.com, Prohibition MCR.
So there we have it. That was my interview with Sophie Tallulah Goodtimes. Thank you, lady. I had such fun chatting to you. I hope you guys enjoyed listening. Do let me know what you thought to the interview in the comments. And now let's roll straight in to Tallulah's DJ Mix.
I'm Tallulah Goodtimes, and you're listening to some of my favourite electro swing tracks mixed up just for you, the Prohibition Radio Show.
listening to the Prohibition Radio Show. Facebook, facebook.com, Prohibition MCR.
Michael Boone Sound System. Ha! This your boy Cloud Tissa. Ha! Hey ya! Jump up, wind up, rock it. Hey ya! Come, let me show you something so lovely. Follow me and see our style. Come, let me show you dance al tarabu. Kisha uta you a sababu. Chakacha, bakata, move to the beat and shake up your bamba. Tingisha, katika, feeling the heat and bado unataka. Selector rocking solidly. Tune after tune, bring the medley. Turn it up and light up the party. Put the volume up in a you mixer. Magika, YouTube, move to the beat and shake up your bamba. Eburuka kawacheza samba. Feel the heat and bado unataka. Hebu tu lia na mahewa. Vitu safi leo utapewa. Hebu tu cheza na yongoma. Wenye uvivu leo watapona. Nimefika mtaa, we gotta rock it up. Ukicheki saa, I gotta pump it up. Grab the microphone, hebu check wanda. Gonna check the flow, yani katana. Hebu tu, come kiwa fresh. Wenye fujo msilete stress. Hebu tu, dunda na your beat. Fungua chupa, feeling so fit. Flow on and on na machizi wanta. Tuko power hapo na madem kadha. Chuka jicho lako usilete bala. Leo mtajua mtindo wa Mombasa. Jumping up all night. Check if you let them akatika so tight. If you bop and you know, baby shine like your show. Kila ukiwaga baby hacking in a blow. Tell the whole of them girls you're the top queen. Hakuna awezai kukubaga from the scene. Looking well and fancy. Kila uki dance. Baka na subao na be ride in a trance. For real. Nime baki tu niko speechless. Niki check it too with you princess. Baby boo me nimeridhika. Chini hadi nyue umekita. Got me now on my knees. Girl would you come with me a big please. Baba, let me put you at ease. Baby we can chill down my marina keys. Yeah. 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 Hey, yeah. Come, let me show you something so lovely. Follow me and see our style. Come, let me show you dance al tarabu. Kisha uta you a sababu. Chakacha, bakata, move to the beat and shake up your bamba. Tingisha, katika, feeling the heat and bado unataka. Selector rocking solidly. Tune after tune, bring the medley. Turn it up and light up the party. Put the volume up in a you mixer. Magika, YouTube, move to the beat and shake up your bamba. Eburuka kawacheza samba. Feel the heat and bado unataka.
Are we close enough?
hurt me, and I know that we're so close. But are we close enough to stand this time? Can we face the heat to feel complete? And I know I feel so close. Without you, I'm incomplete. Without you, without you, without you, so don't compete.
Prohibition MCR.
We think of time as a one-way motion from the past, through the present, and on into the future. And that carries along with it another impression, which is to say that life moves from the past to the future in such a way that what happens now and what will happen is always the result of what has happened in the past.
Super swinging sounds from Tallulah Goodtimes. Thank you very much, lady, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be a part of the Prohibition Radio Show. It was an absolute pleasure. That's all for me. I'm Emma Claire, and I shall be back with you in February.
What's that you say? You gotta turn on the radio. Okay. You got to listen to Prohibition Radio with Emma Claire. You got to listen to Prohibition Radio with Emma Claire.